Hello, everybody. Carlos at 360 here. Um, Today we're gonna do a reactions video again, but this is gonna be around Nintendo Switch 2 and the key card situation. And I had one reaction that may be on deaf ears or whatever, because not a lot of people like Donkey Kong. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and respond to this video by the Jabs24. Okay, so she's from the United Kingdom, so the Brit. So let's get going.
Hello! After my holiday I'm now back and I've spent some more time with the Nintendo Switch 2. And in this video we're going to do another 3-day stretch testing some different things so I can share my experiences, which I believe corroborate with a lot of things that I'm seeing online. Firstly, this. Lots of new things have happened since my initial video. Check out this from Nintendo Life. They shared an article that literally demonstrates how poor the screen is on the Nintendo Switch 2. Digital Foundry, of course, are the kings of the technical side of things, so I would implore you to go and check that out.
Digital Foundries are very technical people, and they also compare that screen and or the technology around it with something like PlayStation 5, which is already pretty powerful. Xbox Series S and X, which are the PlayStation 5 is already sandwiched between those two consoles in terms of power. But to be fair, the Nintendo Switch 2 is competing against the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, the Legion, the Nvidia Shield, and all the other handhelds that are in the market. So I don't think this is a fair comparison because Nintendo does not actually compete against everybody else, but they're inspired by Nintendo Switch. Okay, so let's keep going. But to be fair, I think Nintendo Switch 2 seems like a primitive device by the time it's released because of the competition. And that's where we're at right here. But we'll keep going, okay? There's more to discuss here.
We also have terrible sales for, inverted commas, physical Nintendo Switch games. Is there any surprise? And I'm seeing people trading in and selling their Nintendo Switch 2s left, right and centre. That speaks volumes. For me, this is a very lazy approach to hardware with a very poor lineup for the Nintendo Switch 2.
Alright, so that's where she's at. Okay, so I'll talk about the key card thing a little later, but the returns of Nintendo Switch 2 consoles, those people are stupid. Number one, yes, the game library is limited right now, but rumor is Nintendo is doing a three-phase, three-pronged marketing strategy. Right now we're in phase 1. Okay? Right now we're on phase 1. So what Nintendo wants to do is put focus on the first party games before everything else. The key card controversy is more or less a test for Nintendo themselves, in my opinion. But I don't like it either. But we'll talk about that a little later. Okay? So let me get to it and keep going, alright?
A lot of Nintendo Switch 2s being traded in on day 2. I saw Retro Rick's video, people were trading them in his store. 2 of my local stores, Retro Vault Warsaw and Kirby Sales and Exchange, have also had Switch 2s traded into their stores, and I'm like, what is going on? This is unthinkable for a brand new console. And I say unthinkable because if you cast your minds back to the launch of the PS5, a lot of the scalpers were out there trying to sell the consoles for ridiculous prices, and even CX jumped on the bandwagon and started scalping and selling for like £700. I think that was more of a cash grab for people rather than this console sucks, I'm trading it in. So I think a lot of people are not happy with the Nintendo Switch 2, and I said in my first video, in summary, it is not worth the price. Do not spend your money unless you have disposable income, or you can trade a bunch of existing collection and put it towards some trade credit to get yourself a Switch 2. It is not worth the money at this stage. Not to even mention, I didn't even raise this, that the Pro Controller 2 is 75 quid. Thankfully, it was sold out when I went to get one recently. I'm happy with my crappy third-party Donkey Kong Country wired controller that is working just soundly on my Switch 2, because I don't really want to spend any more money pumping anything else into this console, which is covered up with a blue microfiber cloth at the minute. So last night we were playing some Mario Kart World on my live stream, and
sorry, Mario Kart World is not worth $80. No. No.
Quite some time, around 15 minutes.
And she's about to say why.
She ended up quitting in the end. So I thought we'd put that theory to the test, and I hopped into battle mode. And I waited and waited and waited and waited, and in the end I was like, do you know what, I can't be bothered anymore. So we switched to World Tour and we got in pretty quickly. So there are some issues, maybe people aren't playing it as much, I don't know. It's very difficult to assess if like numbers with Nintendo. There seems to be a lot of press out there that are screaming, going, this is the fastest selling console of all time, yay, go Nintendo. But it's probably the most quickly traded console of all time as well. We can run those numbers as well if we have them. So online matchmaking was a little bit stale for me, and I'm going to say this now, I'm going to put it right out there. I'm now officially bored with Mario Kart World. Why? Because we've managed to gold cup in every Grand Prix, we've got a gold cup in every World Tour, knockout tour, aside from I think one of the cups have got bronze, and I'm bored. Not to mention that free roam is boring. It is boring. There's nothing to do. I say nothing. There's a few things to do that don't really add much tangibility or value. So I'm now officially bored.
You know, I saw this from a mile away. I don't think open world and Mario Kart exactly works that well. Well, collecting items are cool, but like, from what she's saying is, I don't think there are enough points of interest that are like noteworthy, if that makes sense. Okay? It's the same problem that Warzone is going through right now in the Call of Duty community right now. It's the same thing. The same exact thing. The difference is, this is a racing game. I mean, the franchise is meant to be a racing game franchise. But open world does not fit in that world. Okay? I have a nephew that loves Mario Kart. I don't know how he feels now, but hey, when I saw him as a kid, he played Mario Kart like daily, every time I'm there. But what I'm saying is, Mario Kart World is not worth $80. You would have to do more graphic on top of what's there to do what it's asking you, to pay what it's asking you for. So if you're spending $80, I expect more content. That's number one. Number two, I expect more horsepower with the graphics, the animation, and all that kind of stuff. And three, I would need better interactions with the game itself. Most of the gimmicks that are in the game seems like improvements on games before it. So in this case, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This seems like an upgrade on that. And the best way to do a new Mario Kart game is, like I said before, do the Mario World, the Super Mario Brothers movie graphical fidelity thing. Do that. The Switch is about the power of a PlayStation 5 or a Series S, and a lot of people are expecting more from Nintendo Switch 2. But a lot of people think Nintendo Switch 2 is a Nintendo Switch Pro console. But I venture to say it's not, because there is a lot in there. Okay? And I said this before. Cyberpunk currently is a benchmark for all the other games that are on the console. Okay? Because if you can put Cyberpunk in Nintendo Switch 2, then you can put something like Final Fantasy VII Remake in the console, which is already confirmed to be coming to Nintendo Switch 2. So there's a lot of expectations that are coming with Nintendo Switch 2. So let's keep going.
With Mario Kart World. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk myself over here. I'm going to pick up this Switch game, which you can't see, but now you can see it because it's on screen. See that? We're going to be playing some Cyberpunk 2077 this weekend, actually, as I film this. So I'm going to be diving into this, and I'm going to actually play this before I stream, because I want to actually test out new Switch 2 games as part of this next 72-hour vlog. So that means, well, I'm going to have to pay to, I'm going to go Tears of the Kingdom upgrade, which I do have an expiry date. I think I have like 3 more months on my Switch subscription, and it's free obviously with that. I would rather own the digital update. So that's kind of where I'm at, really. Mario Kart World, I'm bored of it. We need new stuff. Can I also just say as well, I just want to put this out there, there's no 200cc mode.
See. Hold on.
So I've gone through it in 150 on the ground.
See, that mode right there, that is basically what a Mario Kart fan base wants from Mario Kart. They want the challenge. They want the Master Race challenge. And in the original Mario Kart World reveal trailer, they said there's a new world that can be unlocked. But so far, nobody has gotten that far. Otherwise, we would be getting footage about it right now. And so far, nobody's gone that far. And when she says something like that, and it gives me the idea that the Master Race is locked somewhere in the game, and nobody found it yet. Either that or the oversight is that is an oversight, I think. So when I hear that, I feel like they that idea slipped their mind, and that idea doesn't seem to be in the game. Either that or not yet. Or they're gonna make a patch update to unlock that, and then put in the unlock for the other world that takes you from the ground to the Star World. There's a trailer that shows it, okay? So I'm not spoiling anything. That's actually what they showed. So, yeah, she's right. There's something that is locked somewhere. Nobody's found it yet. But this goes to show that this launch was rushed. This Mario Kart World launch rushed. It seems like a major oversight that has to be patched at some point. It has to be updated at some point. I don't know, bro. Seems like something's going on. I don't know. Let's go. Keep going.
Grand Prix, loved every minute of it, but then it got bored. So I was like, well, maybe we can do 200. Maybe you unlock it. Nope, nada, nothing. So that's where we're at. I think as well, I've got some store credit at Kirby Sales and Exchange, so I might go and get some more Switch 2 games just for the sake of this next 72 hour how I feel. But yeah, it looks like people are actually not enjoying it, which doesn't surprise me, which means my first video that a lot of whiners came at me and moaning at me. There's a lot of good feedback as well, but there's a lot of keyboard warriors like, shut up. Honestly, it's the general consensus. But anyway, next portion of the video, please. I need a few seconds of your time to tell you about channel membership.
She has her own advertisement telling you about her channel.
The second link in the description. There are 3 tiers, all with different perks for you. If you
I don't hate the game,
member.
you know.
Thanks for your time.
Hustle and flow, bro. Not my music, guys. Not my music.
So I've just watched
Anyway.
the Donkey Kong Bananza Nintendo Direct. And what I've realised is, as a 42-year-old woman, I, as a 42-year-old, am not Nintendo's target audience. And the reason is because I was watching it thinking, this is not Donkey Kong Country. Of course, it looks great. There's lots of new features. There's mechanics where you can fly, drop these eggs on things. You can upgrade your powers when Pauline sings. I mean, there's lots of layers to it. It actually seems a little bit like there's too much to it, albeit it looked good, sounded great. Character modelling is, of course, very different with Donkey Kong. I don't think Donkey Kong looks a little bit more kind of comical. Definitely not the Kev Bayless Donkey Kong that we all grew up with, or at least I did. And if you're in my age bracket, you'll know what I mean. So it looks great. Yes, I'll buy it. But part of me was like, it's not Donkey Kong Country. And why is Pauline on Donkey Kong's back and not Diddy Kong? I don't know. And that was it, like literally that moment that I knew, like, you're too old, Gemma. You're too old, because this is now marketed for a brand new generation that don't have that comparison in the head.
Okay,
that will
7:54 right now.
Get it the birthdays, get it the Christmas.
7:58. So yeah. I have the notes down here. So anyway, the title of this video is going to be similar or exactly. Nintendo, are not going to make a new Donkey Kong Country game anymore. Okay? Let that sink. Okay? Because Donkey Kong as a franchise started in 1980 something. It started as a arcade game. Okay? and then Mario started as a arcade game too. Okay? So both franchises intertwine with each other. Okay? Donkey Kong, originally, it was a like Popeye style game. If you don't know what Popeye is, go find it on Nintendo Entertainment System. It is the idea of you know how there's like lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. And you have to climb up the ladders to get to Donkey Kong. And while he is up there, he rolls these barrels at you. It goes down the lines. And if you get hit by the barrels, you have to try again from the bottom. Okay? That's Donkey Kong. But the problem with this is that it doesn't really reflect what Donkey Kong actually is. Okay? Donkey Kong, and if you see this from the marketing materials or signage or later games, you will realize that Donkey Kong is meant as a gorilla character. Like, this guy is big, hulking monkeys. So, these monkeys can slam the ground as if he can destroy objects, platforms, whatever. So, Donkey Kong Bananza is reflecting that idea from ground zero. Now, on the subject of Donkey Kong Country, that game did not really reflect what Donkey Kong actually is. It's a beautiful game. Yes, it's a beautiful game. Don't get me wrong. Do not twist my words. It is a beautiful game. But it doesn't reflect what Donkey Kong actually is. Okay? Donkey Kong is this big gorilla, big monkey that will destroy objects in his way to get what he wants. And so, when you have a game like Donkey Kong Bananza, you're gonna sell that game as if it's going back to Breath of the Wild visionary kind of game. Okay? This Bonanza game seems like a vision that has been in the making for 30 years, 40 years at least. Okay? So, why Donkey Kong Country succeeded where everybody else failed? Well, it's because of the graphics. And you can't tell me that it's not true. Because the following game, Donkey Kong Country Returns on Wii, went to the 3D realm and used the graphical power of that console. It fell flat because the graphics is not there anymore. You can't do pre-rendered graphics anymore in that era, or they don't want to. It's either one of those two. So, the only way that Donkey Kong Country would make its return is the graphical fidelity in the new game. That is the only way that it's going to make its return. Is that if Nintendo can recapture Donkey Kong Country as a new game. Donkey Kong Country Return should have sold more copies because of Super Nintendo version, but it didn't. It fell flat. That the critical acclaim didn't match the. I don't know if I'm making sense. Because if it sold pretty well, I would have heard about it more than it has. We would have gotten more fan reaction. We would have gotten more this, more that. But it was so quiet that nobody cares. The only people that cares is the Donkey Kong Country fan base itself. Okay? So, yes, it can work, but it needs some oomph to the graphics. That's why Donkey Kong Country succeeded. It was a technical showcase of Super Nintendo. Killer Instinct succeeded because it was a graphical showcase for the arcade game. It was a graphical showcase for Super Nintendo also. It was a graphical showcase for Ultra 64. Graphical showcase for Killer Instinct Gold on Nintendo 64. That's all it ever was. The reason why the two games got sequels is because the sales of Donkey Kong Country jumped to Donkey Kong Country 2, and then Donkey Kong Country 2 went to Donkey Kong Country 3. That's how sales work. But the problem is, when you come back with Donkey Kong Country Return and you alter how the game is supposed to be perceived, and when I say that, I don't mean the gameplay. The gameplay is the same as Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo. But the problem is the 3D graphics was not doing the same thing as Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo. Okay? So, that's why we're not going to come back to that franchise unless Nintendo can use the power of the Nintendo Switch 2 to give off that graphical prowess. Okay? The Donkey Kong Country Return game seems like the same weak hardware game. That's why it didn't sell well so much. And then to top it off, the price point stayed the same over the next 10-20 years. Nintendo never drops the price point. Never. It's basically the Disney business model. So, yeah, that's the problem. Next subject is going to be the key cards coming up.
Sad. Now, I think that this release has been strategically placed to elevate the Switch 2 sales that little bit further a month down the line, which is fine. But I was a little bit disappointed. Anyway, this is a 72-hour vlog, raw and pure, no lav mic actually, so it sounds a little bit different. But we're going to check out some, not Cyberpunk, we're going to get the new patch for Tears of the Kingdom, because I'm eager to know what that is on kind of like, I'm going to play it tabletop mode actually, in handheld.
One more thing I forgot to say. I am 43 years old. I am about 1 year after this lady. I like Donkey Kong Country, but it seems primitive. When you jump, it's kind of slow. when you bounce off another enemy, you don't have freedom to go up, down, left, right, or whatever. If you made a mistake, that's your bad. Okay? So you jump, boom, that's it. That's your fault. And sometimes there are enemies that come out of nowhere and you don't have another way to like maneuver. That's my biggest problem with Donkey Kong Country. This Donkey Kong Bananza seems like a target towards casual. The kid audience. I agree with that. I agree with what she said. But I don't think it's going to go to the kid audience. I think it's going to go to the kid audience and the mature audience that came from the arcade version to the Nintendo Entertainment version to the Super Nintendo version to Donkey Kong 64. That's the other thing. Donkey Kong 64 sold so bad that nobody wants to deal with it. It's because the game did not reflect what Donkey Kong actually is. It's basically Banjo-Kazooie in Donkey Kong skin. That's it. And so, yeah. Next part coming up. Alright. Let's keep going.
Just to see to my naked brown eyes if there is any difference and if it's worth upgrading. What I'm actually going to do is not pay for it, but actually get it on my expansion. And if it is worth it, I'll pay for it. I'm not giving Nintendo my $7.99 yet, or whatever it is to upgrade. So I'll use my free expansion. If I like it and it's worth it, I'll tell you. If not, we'll chuck it by the wayside and play it on my base model. Righty-ho, we've got some Tears of the Kingdom. We're going all old school here. Could actually hook all this up to my capture card. But I wanted to actually show you the process of what it's like to upgrade. So, dreaded Joy-Cons. Let's see what we've got. So we need to update it. So we'll obviously skip this part. So we've not done the update yet, okay? It's telling me to put, there we go, we're synced in. So, oh, what? Some necessary, okay, oh my God, see, it's a faff already, but this is what it is, it's a live vlog. We'll download it. Thankfully, it's not taking too long, which is good. Crack on. Right, so existing save data was found. Download it and keep playing with it. Obviously, I've been playing this on my OLED. Yet more downloads, but this is what you can gonna expect. Thankfully, it's pretty quick, so I'll take that. Literally less than a minute. So I'm good. Right, this is before we've updated the graphics, anything like that. I still don't know how to do it. I'm pretty sure it won't be automatically. I don't know, but let's see what we've got. Clocked it right at the bottom. Right at the bottom it says Nintendo Switch 2 edition. I'm eager to see what it just looks like on this anyway. So as you can see, I've not played this for quite some time. Sounds nice. I've cranked the volume up the highest it can go. So pretty nice,
Watch
actually.
the loading time.
I like that. So before we upgrade, I wanted to try Tears of the Kingdom.
It's quick.
In its native state, in its Nintendo Switch version before we upgrade. I think it looks really good. Now I have forgot the controls, not gonna lie, and that's what made me just pull away from these games a little bit. I found that there was way too many layers to this game, but anyway, I digress. this does look really good, and I was playing through this on my OLED on my TV. I'm not a huge fan of undocked mode or kind of handheld in general, but this looks pretty good before the update. So I thought we'd keep it zoomed in, and I'm going to update it now. Like I said, I'm going to use the free update. This is what happens. Let's see what we've got. So it takes you to the eShop. Can I not just download it? Right. Tears of the Kingdom upgrade pack. You can check the download status on the home menu, depending on the Okay. The software will need to restart in order to install the downloadable content. Right. If you purchase Nintendo Switch 2 Edition upgrade pack, complete the update by restarting the game. So let's do that. As you can see, it is downloading there. So we'll give it a minute, guys, and then we'll check back in with your good selves. Right, we've done it. That took a few minutes, and as you can see now, it actually says on it, Remastered Switch 2 Edition. Crank this up.
Sorry.
Again, I could use my capture card, but I kind of like this
from here, watch the loading screen.
To just doing this with you guys, getting it boxed off.
I'm not talking about that. Not talking about that.
The menu.
Just 1 second.
Zelda notes setting. I actually can't tell a difference off the menu, but I'm actually going to spend more time away from the Joy-Cons and in handheld mode. But as is, just looking at that, like the colours, everything, I can't actually tell a difference. This better be, like, I'm glad I didn't spend the money on it. Okay, let's have a look. What we're saying. Okay, yes, actually I can. Can I? Let's go into light. I don't know, you know. I can't really tell. Like, think about it, right? We're not all Digital Foundry. I can't, like, at this angle, maybe it's just a crap angle. Okay, I'm gonna spend some time in like handheld mode, not in like tabletop mode. I want to actually kind of attach the Joy-Cons. I think I'll be able to kind of attach the angles, you know, move the angles around, on the Switch, get to grips with it. And of course, I'm going to play this on my gaming monitor. I think that's where it's truly going to shine. So I'll check back in with you guys shortly. To the naked eye, you can't really tell when it comes to gameplay, but the menus, the colours do seem to pop that little bit more, so there is a very mild redemption for this update. Do excuse me, I have no makeup on, and I've just come back from the gym about half an hour ago, came back from the gym, so I look horrible. But I just want to quickly pause. So I'm playing on my BenQ 4K monitor, and obviously it is.
And this is where the graphics shine.
It does look a lot better on the gaming monitor compared to handheld and compared to kind of playing with the Joy-Cons in the tabletop mode. It actually does look really better. So I will say this, it is worth the upgrade, and I probably will pay for the upgrade because it does look nice. So that is some mild redemption for the Switch 2 on this second bout of testing. But we're also going to be playing some Cyberpunk. We're going to be spending a couple of hours with Cyberpunk. Now, it's been reported that a lot of the third-party Switch games, such as Cyberpunk, are not selling well in terms of the actual physical cards, and that's because everyone's probably downloading them, because you need to download them even if you've got the physical card. Except for Cyberpunk, the game is on the card, which is really good. So maybe that's another reason why it's been selling well. But we're going to test it, and we're going to kind of look at, well, off the bat, again, not Digital Foundry, off the bat, user experience with Cyberpunk.
The easy solution to this problem, it would have been to put, okay, so you know how with Nintendo Switch, you have 2 options or 3 options. The first option is a 8 GB cartridge, 16 GB cartridge, and then the 32 gig cartridge. But with Nintendo Switch 2, you have 2 choices. One is the 64 gigabyte cartridge, and the other one is the game key card cartridge, because the cartridge is just a download code for the download on the other side of the server. So the solution to this problem would have been to make a Nintendo Switch 2 version of 8 gigabyte, 12 gigabyte, 32 gigabyte, and make that available to something like Bravely Default. Those 2D games. And so that's how we solved this problem. And to me, my thing is, it's great to have a 64 gigabyte cartridge. Great. But why not use the key cards only for games over 64 gigabytes? That's the way I see this. That's the way I see this solution. The mediator of this issue. The mitigation of this issue. That's the way I see it. But rumor is that's what they planned, but somehow somebody said no. Let's just do key cards at launch. Well, the reception is telling you it's bad, because in my opinion, I understand what the key cards are for. It's for games that exceed or go over 64 gigabytes. That's the way I see this. Okay? Because 64 gigabytes is pretty expensive. It is pretty expensive. Because it was pretty expensive when we had 32 gigabytes. It was kind of cheap when we had 8 and 16 gigabytes. We would pay for those, no problem. But the way I see key cards is games that have too big of a size to fit in a 64 gigabyte maximum cartridge. I don't know if they're going to go over that limit, as in 100 gigabytes, 200 gigabytes. That's just pushing your luck. And so that's where we're at. That's my suggestion. That's how we solve this problem. I think we should have that conversation. Alright, let's keep going.
Cyberpunk, but I will say Tears of the Kingdom does look really nice, and you can tell to the naked eye the frame rate looks fantastic. So that is a little bit of a redemption, but overall I still don't think it's worth investing, because I think Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild perform fantastically on base and OLED Switch.
No.
Right, joking aside, we've set the stream up.
No. That's your nostalgic eye talking to you. Even I could see the shortcomings in the old base model Zelda games. The anti-aliasing was so rough around the edges. The distancing was so bad that you could see the pop-ins in the background. That is with the fog in there. But you would have to be on a big screen like this. And I saw the shortcomings. And even the frame rates drop at sometimes. And I think that's what the the Nintendo Switch 2 editions are supposed to solve. On top of that, there are some modders that ported the Zelda games into the PC version, and that PC version made the Nintendo Switch version look so bad that you could see the mistakes in the background. In the PC port, the graphics, it looks so sharp, and the pop-ins are not there anymore. The draw distance, it was sharper too. And Nintendo shut that down. Yeah, they did that. Fans came in and tried to fix the problem. But Nintendo said, no. Nintendo just can't get out of their own way. If I was Nintendo, I would have paid those developers to come in, do the Nintendo Switch 2 port. Yeah? We're talking about people who know the architecture of the PC master race. And we're talking about NVIDIA too, because Tegra 2, the new Tegra chip in there is basically NVIDIA. So, but hey, if Nintendo wants to be Nintendo, let them be Nintendo, whatever. They want to sabotage themselves, let them sabotage themselves.
And I've just learnt that you actually get stickers in this, so that is really cool. Let's get that out of the way. Look, you get stickers. How cool is that? But let's face it though, this variant version of Cyberpunk is pretty cool. Again, everything's on the cart. We're about to play it on Kick right now. We're going to check in with you guys after the stream to let you know what I think of this experience, as this is the only third-party game that is selling really well on Switch 2. Is it worth it?
Much later.
You're about to find out it is.
Down, stream complete. Here's my 2 cents. So Cyberpunk looks great, lovely reflections, really nice use of light in many areas. There are some textures lacking. There was a few items as I was driving that were kind of texture popping in. So yes, it's not without flaws, but overall it's a solid 7.5 out of 10 experience on the Switch 2. My PC fans are going crazy as it closes down there. What I've noticed is I don't actually want to play through Cyberpunk 2077 again, as I've completed it on the PS5. So you need to ask yourself,
and I understand that.
You get a Switch 2 and you get Cyberpunk, what extra value are you going to get from it? Now, it's worth noting that I picked a different class. I started with Nomad, whereas on my original playthrough, I think I played as Street Kid. And other than the very first opening scenes, you don't have any difference whatsoever. So I'm guessing there's not going to be a lot of replay value. So please consider that when you're getting Cyberpunk 2077 on your Nintendo Switch 2s. Yes, it looks great, it performs wonderfully, it is a really strong title, and it's great that the game data is all on the cartridge as well as DLC. But do you really need to play it again? It's a bit of a cash grab, but that's fine, that's absolutely fine. But I don't think I'm going to really play it on my Switch 2 other than what I've just played it, which sounds ludicrous, but it just feels a bit redundant. 72 more hours with the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm done with it. There's now not enough games out there that I want to play exclusively on my Switch 2, and here's why. I've completed Mario Kart World. I'm not motivated to play it anymore. I've since
not worth $80.
Jam.
Not worth $80.
Actually said there is a way you can unlock the 200cc.
And I haven't even played it yet.
On, like,
I see this on my own way.
And drive through this certain window. Maybe I'll do that. So your peak game
Mario Kart World, I've now exhausted it in the space of 8 hours. So 8 hours worth of live streams, and I'm at that point where I actually have no more yearning to play it. Obviously, we've played Cyberpunk. It looks good. I'd go, you know, like I said, it's not like a masterpiece on the Nintendo Switch. It certainly seems to perform a little bit better on the PS5, but it's great. I think they've done a great job at porting it over, but even picking a different kind of class than Nomad, there's no replay value. So I'm actually not going to pick that up again. I'm actually toying with the idea of trading Cyberpunk 2077 on the Switch. I think the next big thing for me is the Donkey Kong game that's coming out. Now, I mentioned earlier in this episode that I'd watched that presentation from Nintendo.
Watch what she does in a minute.
Let's just put it out there, right? Let's talk about the positives, okay? I think it looks good. I think it looks fun. But there's a lot of things on there. I think there's this multiple modes where you can like level up Donkey Kong, and yeah, maybe it's just me, but it's just too much. Like with my Nintendo.
Speaking of that, I think Nintendo is being innovative with that. It's a good idea. It encourages you to play the game more and more and more. But it's not targeting her, it's targeting somebody else. But the thing is, rumor is Donkey Kong Bananza is using the Mario Galaxy engine. So that's where that idea comes from. So
simplicity, just let's bolt it down to what worked for me as a child, and that was your 2D side scrollers. Okay, yes, coming into the N64 era, that whole era of 360 degree kind of full 3D kind of stuff, it's great. But I feel like the new Donkey Kong is definitely going to appeal to a completely different audience. Perhaps it's not appealing to my age group. I'm 42, and I know from looking at my analytics, the bulk of people are in my age group that watch my content. So I'm just letting you know, unless you're going to play it with your kid, I think that'd be great. I think if you're parents, and I'm not, you'll probably get some value out of the Switch too. If you're like, you know, I don't have any kids, I just like to game by myself on my live stream, I'm done with the Switch 2. Something big needs to happen now. Now, since I made my first video, a lot of people online have been trading the Switches in. That speaks volumes. I've just come back from Doncaster Gaming Market as I film this, and there were Switch 2s.
These people are stupid. Okay? You guys know very well that Nintendo is a long-term thinker. They do things in phases. This is phase 1. The next phase is when the next Nintendo Switch Nintendo Direct comes out. When that happens, they're gonna start the marketing for the next phase of this three-pronged marketing strategy. We're not in Christmas yet. Okay, we're not even close to Christmas yet. And that is going to be the true test of Nintendo Switch 2. That is going to be the true test of Nintendo Switch 2. Okay? Until then, y'all need to chill out. This is stupid. Because, what if Metroid Prime 4 comes out? You have to buy the system again. What if Super Mario Brothers new game comes out? What you gonna do? You're gonna buy it again? What if, let's say, Splatoon game comes out? You're gonna buy it again. And the worst part is, Nintendo just announced a spin-off of Splatoon. just now. And then they just announced another one. Dear me, I was doing. Dear me, I was. That's the title. That's actually the title. So anybody's trading in the Nintendo Switch are stupid. Because the heavy hitters had not come yet. You're gonna buy the system again. You're stupid. You're stupid.
With the cameras and accessories for sale at the market, these things have only just come out. And already you're seeing the second-hand market being flooded with Nintendo Switch 2 consoles. Again, reading between the lines, people are bored, people are selling them. I think what's happened as well, and serves the scalpers right, is scalpers will buy them and think, I'm going to sell this for £1,700,000, whatever pound. Now realising they can't, so they're actually selling them, you know, online. I think we're seeing a lot of that as well. That's just my prediction of what's happening there. But again, they are being traded in. I've seen Retro Rick, he did a video, people are trading them into his store. People are realising that actually it is exactly what I said in my first video. It is not worth the upgrade unless you have disposable income or you have a bunch of stuff, shrapnel in the collection that you want to trade. Do it. Don't spend your cash otherwise. That's just my 2 cents. So I thought I was gonna shoehorn myself into doing this in a slightly different.
The problem is, in United States, the Nintendo Switch 2 is $450, so that's basically a PlayStation 5. That's basically what it is. There's not enough games out right now, but that's the first phase, like I said before. The next phase is just about happening between July and September. By September, they're going to start the marketing push for Nintendo Switch 2 everywhere else in time for Christmas. That's going to be the true test of the Nintendo Switch 2. By March, then we know the numbers. But the problem is, y'all don't know that there are big hitters. You don't buy Nintendo Switch just for today. You're buying it for tomorrow. You're buying it for next year. You're buying it for next 2 years. You're buying it for next 3 years. Because I don't know if you noticed this, guys. Games are like $70 and $80 a pop. Do the math. And to be fair, I do not like the key card situation. The way they use the key cards is bad. It should be in a like smaller cartridge size, like 8 gigs, 16 gigs, 32 gigs. Use those so that you can pay for this. I'm making sense. Nintendo should have had this foresight in the first place. They should have had this foresight. And to play devil's advocate, okay? What I think Nintendo is trying to do is proliferate the idea of key cards so that they can use that for games above 64 gigabytes in the future. They're trying to future-proof the idea of key cards in the future. And then they can go back in the beginning and start offering 8 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes, 32 gigabyte cards, and then let the 64 gigabyte cards be the $80 games. Or I just think there's a lot of options here. I think that is the biggest solution that we have right now, and Nintendo really needs to get going.
Right, but I can't. My raw and pure emotion for the Nintendo Switch 2 is just wait. Wait for better games to come out.
Yeah,
Speaking of
I
games,
agree.
there's this
I
huge
agree.
thing online at the minute. The third-party stuff, other than Cyberpunk, are selling really poorly because, again, people like me and you, we like physical media, right? This whole notion of game cards is no. And I think that's why Cyberpunk's selling well. Is
I already
on
talked
the
about that,
cartridge,
so
you're getting the game, you're
let her
getting the
talk.
DLC, you own it outright. You're not putting the cartridge in and then downloading it. So people are pretty angry about that. And I think if you peel off your core audience, people like me and you that grew up with the NES, with the SNES, then again the N64, GameCube, these consoles carved our childhoods. They carved the very nature of who I am, of everything I wake up and do on this channel. You know, I wanted so badly to kind of put out and go, Switch 2 is life-changing, I'm taking it everywhere with me, but quite frankly, I don't even want to spend any more money on it.
Hey, Gemma, most of us don't want Nintendo to go crazy with the weirdness. That's the problem. All we want is an upgraded Nintendo Switch. That's all we wanted. Okay? We wanted that. But the thing is, the innovation, sometimes they can get out of control sometimes. It's like this. The Wii U seems like a concept that failed because they wanted to go after the tablet industry. Nintendo Switch is an upgrade of that one because they refined what it means as a tablet. They refined what a handheld console is. We wanted a docked, powerful system. The problem is there are some technical issues in there too. And it can easily be fixed in future revisions or future patch updates. RGT85, he tested Street Fighter 6 on Nintendo Switch 2, and that version, it didn't play well in monitors like yours because it was turned off somehow. The 120 frames per second mode, the 120 megahertz, whatever. But yeah, that's the problem. But I wanted a more powerful Nintendo Switch 2. We all did. We even called the Nintendo Switch 2 Super Nintendo Switch. That was my most popular tweet almost all time. And I got popular on that because I was right. It was supposed to be called Super Nintendo Switch. That's all you have to do. You don't have to call it Nintendo Switch Pro. Super Nintendo Switch. Okay? So, let's keep going.
I was going to buy the Pro Controller 2, and now I'm not going to bother. I don't even know if I'm going to get Donkey Kong on launch. Don't even know if I'm going to get Donkey Kong on launch. I'm going to wait, see what the vibe is, and if I have a hankering to pick it up again, then I'm going to do it. The only reason for me to buy it is because I stream. And it gives the audience a chance for me to spend my money, and then you can decide if you want to play it by watching live stream. So I will spend 70 quid and be at a loss to stream it to see if people want to kind of come in and like it. But I'll wait for the reviews. I'll kind of wait for that to drop, and we'll just go from there in terms of Donkey Kong Bananza, I think it's called. Why is Diddy not, like Diddy Kong, not on the back? Like, why? Diddy Kong, we saw a few seconds in the trailer, didn't we? Why have we got Paulie?
I think it's a storyline thing. I think it's a storyline thing. And to be fair, Donkey Kong Bananza is modeled after what do you call it? Super Mario Brothers movie appearance, the cameo appearance. Because here's the other thing that I noticed, okay? They're gonna tie Donkey Kong Bananza with the film. And I'm not just talking about Super Mario World, the movie. I'm talking about the next project. Maybe it's gonna be Donkey Kong, the movie. So I think they're gonna use that film to tie with Bananza. There's always a reason with Nintendo. There's always a reason with Nintendo. We have to remember that Nintendo is one of the greatest marketing minds out there. They know how to release the game, release something else to go along with it. Super Mario World is going to market the next Mario game. Let me put it another way. You know the new Mario movie? I'm gonna do a clip right here. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so as you can see, the Super Mario Brothers movie. Okay, I have a poster. So anyway, the Super Mario Brothers movie came out around the time that Super Mario Brothers Super Mario Wonder was coming out. They put it right there to market this movie, and then this movie market that game. That's how their marketing strategy works. Because they want anybody that sees this to go out and buy the game. They want those people to go out there to buy Mario Kart, Mario Wonder, whatever is around Nintendo Switch. That's how marketing works. Okay, welcome back. We're almost done.
You know, Donkey Kong's back. Anyway, I think my feelings are clear. Let me know what you think. I'll keep it. I'm not going to trade it. I'll keep it in the hope that things will change. And maybe we'll get some new additional games that want to come in. I don't know. I think for me, what was great about the Switch, OLED base, you know, that kind of like first gen Switch stuff, the indie games. So, but you don't really want to buy a Switch 2 to play indie games when you can play them on your Switch 1. So again, it's not worth it. We've spent another 72 hours. Yes, Tears of the Kingdom does look great. I didn't pay for it, but I said earlier I'm going to pay for it. It does look great, but now as I'm doing this, I've like changed my mind again, because to be honest, I've totally lost touch with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I've even got my bugbears about that. Again, coming from the likes of A Link to the Past, which was a flipping difficult game. I was playing the Tears of the Kingdom as part of this video. I'm like, oh god, what are controls? Oh god, how do you fuse things together? Wait, what's that? And I was just like, I can't. I want to pick up and go, man. I want to pick up and go. So, who knows? But anyway, share your thoughts. Nintendo Switch 2, what you're saying. Everyone's talking about it. Hit the comments, light it up, guys, and make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
I just think that this whole controversy is dumb. Because you're going to end up buying the console again. You're going to end up buying games for the consoles. The console later. You're going to end up buying all this stuff. But at this point, yes, I agree that Nintendo Switch 2 is not worth it in the short term. In the long term, it's worth it. But you have to think about what you like. The only reason why I would buy Nintendo Switch is 2 games. A new Zelda game or a new Metroid game that either means something like Metroid Dread or a Metroid Prime 4. Rumor is, Mercury's Stream has already started Metroid Prime 5. Do that. No. Come at me with a new one. No. I don't care if the new game just came out. No. Come on. Bring it out. Bring out the next game. Okay? And I want that game to be exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2. Use the power of the Nintendo Switch 2. Okay? And then there are some third-party games I would buy. Sometimes. And that goes to show that I think that Nintendo is trying to shake off the idea that Nintendo Switch 2 is just a Nintendo platform exclusive console. They want this to be available to players who want third-party games too. And I think that Cyberpunk 2077 is the benchmark. The next game that is going to be the benchmark is going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake. The next benchmark is going to be the third-party game that seems impossible on Nintendo Switch 2. It's the same old story as The Witcher 3 on Nintendo Switch 2. That's going to be the true test. Because Nintendo Switch could never handle Witcher 3. No. It's a good point. But it could never handle it. Not 100%. The other games that I have in mind is Doom 2016. Doom Eternal. Those points. Yeah. And then the Doom Ages. Those 3 is going to be the benchmark also. And Microsoft has already said that they want to bring their games to Nintendo Switch 2. So that's going to be another benchmark. We're going to see big surprises, big heavy hitters. We have not seen the big stuff already. Y'all trading those consoles in, y'all stupid. You're not seeing the future. You're seeing the short term. Hey, it's your opinion. It's your console. It's your money. Hey, you're going to buy the system again. That's your fault. Okay. Alright, that'll be all for this video. Like, subscribe, share the video, talk about College X360. I'll see you guys later. Stay awesome. See you.